I guess I hit screencast. I don't know. I thought they had changed something. I'm a caveman. So what's going on, people? What have I missed? Probably going to take a second for people to get on here now. But you know what we do. We sing sea shanties until we get people in the chat. Me bully boys of Liverpool, I'd have you to beware. When you're sailing a packet ship, no dungaree jumpers wear. But have a big monkey jacket all ready to your hand, for there blows some cold nor'westers on the banks of Newfoundland. Okay, we got people in the chat. Charlie Rome is in the chat. Sorry, Charlie, I missed that. I did the screen stream on the last one and showing everybody my phone background, which is my family, which I don't care if you guys see, but I try to keep their faces off of the internet for the most part. Sand Mountain Ballistics is in the chat. Howdy, Hunter. How are you, man? Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, Ari the singing cowboy. That was the dream, Nathan. How are you, brother? Hunter, not much going on. I was doing my laundry during Tony's stream. I was just moderating. And Charlie said, I saw that and so much more. You guys know my secrets now. That's not good. Can't know my secrets. No, I was moderating and doing my laundry. So I was, that whole time they were talking about the dogfight thing, I was just folding laundry. So there's that. But yeah, nothing crazy going on. It was a decent week. It was working. Chris Cadman's in the chat. Howdy, Chris. How's the dog, man? It was a decent week. No weirdness. Mike in 32451 is in the chat. Howdy, Mike. Hunter saying, Ari, I can't believe your short caused such a stink. I had no idea, Hunter, because if you recall, I don't know if it was my last live stream or the one previous to that. Rich was in the live stream and I mentioned it to him. I was like, hey man, I used the sound from one of your shorts for mine, and I guess kind of. I don't know. I didn't know you were so sensitive. I guess, but yeah. How you doing, Mike? What's going down, man? Brian M is in the chat. Howdy, Brian. How'd you like that picture I sent you of your old nemesis? Moparman 1978's in the chat saying, if anybody here hasn't subbed to my channel, please go ahead and sub. I'm 2 subs away from 1,000. Make sure to sub to Moparman. He's got some great tips. He does good work. It's a good channel. You can get a great idea of how not to make lasagna. I'm sorry, brother. I had to. Brian M saying, just be glad I do not have access to a drone. Tabo Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Tabo. Hunter saying, yeah, I thought it was a funny and harmless joke. Then he started screaming harassment and all that. Yeah. Well, he deleted his comment about the harassment on my channel, and he seems to be in okay spirits now. He cut a couple of clips from my videos and did some of his own, so, more power to him. But I thought it was kind of funny. Mike in saying, I'm a Chevy man, but I subbed anyways. Me too, Mike. Me too. Hi, Spider Garage is in the chat. Mr. Bryce DeCastro. Howdy, Bryce. How are you, man? Yeah, Hunter, he's deleting stuff. It's kind of weird. Terrence Seymour's in the chat. Mr. Greaves. Terrence, I tried to hold that damn. Where is it? There's a claw marks on me somewhere here. You can see it on the wrist there, little stigmata claw. He didn't get me that bad, but he did try to claw the shit out of me when I tried to hold him like you do, Mr. Greaves, with the in one hand. Chris Cadman saying plates of 12-string rockabilly today. That sounds rad, man. GTI Warrior is in the chat. Howdy, brother. Mopar Man saying John Wilburn blocked me from saying hi to people in his live chats. That was weird, man. You said your messages weren't coming up. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Mongo is only pawn in game of life. Nafi Islam is in the chat. Welcome. How are you? Boom, baby, says Bryce. He said, got Morticia started up today. How's she running? Sounds decent. Firing on all six. Is she happy? Terrence is saying, it's not for all cats, but my last few have been into balancing. This cat's such a loaf, Terrence. He doesn't want to do anything. The second I wake up, and I mean the second, like this, my eyes open and wants food. Now, Fi Islam saying your phone 5G full speed. Yeah. Mike in 32451. It's a gentleman named Rich. He was saying I harassed him by using the sound from his short. In his short, he was talking about how he hadn't worked on his Chevy because it was raining. And I used the sound from that short to say, well, I haven't been able to work on my car, because it was raining, but it was sunny as hell out here. It was kind of just one of those things. But Dakota's timeout is in the chat. Did I miss you, Dakota? You were already in here. Yeah, Dakota's in the chat. Howdy, Dakota. I Spider's saying, oh man, sounding good. I just have to fix my oil pressure line. You getting a little drip or what? Just chillin's in the chat. Howdy, man. Just chillin'. I don't know if you understood what I was saying. I phrased it kind of weird, but right where I'm at here, there's a train track, and just certain times of the day, you'll get the BNSF trains, and there's a lot of art on them, man. A lot of good graffiti, depending on the train, obviously, but you can kind of just sit and bench a little bit while you're sitting around. Dave Lewis is in the chat. Howdy, Dave. How are you, man? Dakota's timeout is saying, right on Charlie Roma, there's about to be some Dodge truck videos. Chris Cadman saying, Ari, you woke up my dog with cat sounds? Nice. Damn cat. Yeah, kitty's a bad kitty. Mike N saying, yeah, I don't know Rich 229. Yeah, not a lot of people do. iSpider saying, yeah, it should be an easy fix, though. Is it because I had that issue, too. One side's just normal pipe threads, and then one side's actually like a compression fitting, and they don't really want to mingle. Dave Lewis is doing good. I'm glad to hear it, man. Anything cool come through the shop? Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, Ari could have said his video on cannot be remixed. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he took some clips from my video. He was talking about the paint on my truck and then the paint on that 61 that I was working on too, because there was some overspray. I guess that bothered him. I don't know. I didn't paint either truck, so it didn't seem entirely relevant. But yeah, like I said, more power to him as long as he's not feeling upset and harassed. I don't like when people feel singled out. You know what I mean? That's I don't mind poking a little fun, but I'm never going to join a pecking party, which does happen a lot on here, unfortunately. A lot of people want to do that, and that kind of bums me out. I don't like when I feel like a bully. So it's like, as long as, if he wants to upload some videos and do that, that makes it even, right? Makes it good. Terrence Seymour saying, I almost tripped up this morning after Mr. Greaves brought a length of paracord into my room overnight and left it next to my bed. He's trying to take you out, man. Just chilling. Say, maybe you saw my name on that train and didn't realize it. Nice, man. Yeah, the BNSF trains here, I think mostly come from Norwalk and another yard out towards, I think La Palma. So maybe, man. I don't know if you get out to Norwalk. Dave Lewis is saying new TIG welder. Nice, man. Lucky you. Did you get one of those crazy Everlast or did you spring and get a Miller? I Spider saying, "Oh yeah, that is it." I thought it was odd. It's weird because they don't really sell a lot of. I Bryce, I ended up just using some high temp thread sealant on the pipe thread side of my oil pressure gauge. I swear I know how to talk. I ended up, yeah, just using the high temp thread sealant, and I haven't had any puddles of oil in the cab of the truck, so that's a win, right? Sand Mountain Ballistics saying, I didn't even know who Rich 220 was. I actually thought he was a different Rich from the live streams, and I thought, man, when did this dude become a softie? I don't know. I mean, apparently I offended him. I didn't know. People are sensitive, I guess. Um, they feel affronted from different things. I personally, I mean, I don't invite a lot of negative commentary about my truck. She's kind of like my retarded child. You can say what you will about me, but leave the truck out of it. But B&R Racing's in the chat. Howdy, brother. Folks are greeting him. Mike N saying BNSF is Canadian, is it not? I don't think so, Mike N. I mean it's Santa Fe Railroad, but it could be. You never know. Everything's outsourced and owned from a different country nowadays. Bryce, I'll send you a picture of the thread sealant I used. It's just the Permatex high temp, but they might give you a different code or something. You know how part stores are. Oh, poor man saying JW trying to be in everybody's lives and buttering people. He's campaigning. Sand Mountain Ballistic saying, yeah, he said he was going to have your channel taken off because you stole his content. I explained to him that shorts are for public use. Yeah. Well, his first comment was that's theft and harassment. And I gave it a heart. I pinned a comment, you know what I mean? Because it's not theft and it's not harassment. There's no, you know what I mean? And then he obviously, wasn't very convicted in feeling that way because he deleted the comment and then proceeded to do the same thing to me. So, I mean, obviously he wasn't as offended as he let on. Chris Cadman saying, how dare you? Danny Boyd's in the chat. Howdy, Dan. How are you, man? BNR Racing saying, Dakota, yes, sold for $820. My cut after eBay fees is $699.07. Got paid, but eBay holding money still. They verify delivery. I wish I could have bought those, Brian. You know what I mean? If I had a couple extra bucks, I sure would have. But I guess it'd be a while till I got to using them anyway. So, I'd rather you got some cash than sit around and wait for me. Especially if you're in a pinch. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying Rich needs to change the settings on his video then. Yes, yes. Carmudgeon's saying used to be Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad. I'm unenlightened, Carmudgeon, but welcome to the chat, brother. How are you? Mopar Man saying, I think it's funny when people who don't like other people's channels sit in the shadows and watch their lives and go over to other lives, especially late night, early morning live. Complain. Cousin Mike saying, you did a horrible job painting the Apache. Dakota saying, heck, I thought about bidding on them. I didn't know about them until I saw them on eBay. Yeah, Dakota, that was a nice set of heads. That's what my buddy runs on his 63 C10, and that's a pretty quick truck for as heavy as it is. He had a neutered, crappy carburetor on there before, though, and he's got a nice 650 Holly now. I want to see the difference once he gets it together. Cousin Mike, I'm just a horrible painter, though, man. But apparently I can learn. How you doing, Mike? Mike said he was shoeing horses all day, so he was wrestling them for the farrier. BNR saying best YouTube live would be going out street racing legit. You know what sucks, Brian, is I mean, the past year or so, they've really been trying to crack down on that. They try to incriminate people using the footage of street races as evidence against them, and that's kind of a bummer. Cousin Mike saying, doesn't even look like you tried. GTI Warrior saying, but did you paint the inside of the oil filter to match? Paul Pahooey's in the chat. Howdy, Paul. How are you? Nathan's saying the same thing as me, saying that would be incriminating evidence. Yeah, it kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I mean, I guess, you know what I mean? I've got that very criminal attitude of like, it's not a crime unless you get caught. And then it's like the video is not technically you getting caught, but it is video evidence of you breaking the law. I don't know. It seems kind of Orwellian, but then it just, I don't know. Chris Cadman saying, shoeing horses? Like, go away, horses? Yeah, get the hell out of here, horses. Danny Boyd saying, last week I done 2 coil packs on my buddy's Expedition and fixed a rotted brake line on my Corolla, which snowballed into a new rear shoes, a junkyard caliper, because I broke a bleeder. Dan, I need to get to work on my lady's Corolla. The AC clutch is making noise. Buff Del Campo is in the chat. Turbo Del Campo. Howdy, Buff. How are you, man? You recovered from your drive yet? Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, can't even remove emissions devices on here. Yep. Mike Ensign, tell him to get over. Kinda. Eric Kofed's in the chat saying, good evening, Ari. What's going on, Eric? How are you, man? You said it's been hectic lately. I hope it hasn't been like bad hectic. Because good hectic might mean you're making some money, but bad hectic might mean you're trying to keep up with, you know what I'm saying, right? How you been, man? Buff Del Campo has barely recovered. You were saying you had a mess in the shop. What was going on? Is it just from work or did something specific happen? Danny Boyd's saying, I also put the junkyard AC and inlet tube on my car, so it's running titties, quiet and smooth. Still need an inner tie rod, though. I've swapped out a couple of AC clutches and Corollas. Dan, I don't have a good set of snap ring pliers. That's the only reason I didn't jump into it right off. But I need to get into it. It's growling and it's annoying as hell because the car is otherwise real smooth, decent running. I've maintained it best I could for a long time, and you know, just a few little things are holding it back from being as smooth as it could be. But I definitely need to jump into that. Buff Del Campo saying we were working before I left, and I left in a hurry. Yeah, that'll happen. That will happen. You said you went all the way to Oregon, right? Dan saying, I need a new snap ring plier set too. Dan, there's a really nice Knipex snap ring plier set on Amazon. It's like $120, which ain't exactly change, but it's a whole lot cheaper than, Snap-on or anything of the like, so. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, Dan, you almost have a new car. Yeah, I did the outer tie rods on the truck today because the driver's side had a lot of play in it, and I was feeling it heading down the road. What do we got? GTI Warrior saying we should be running. Why would we use running titties for a smooth motor? It should be big and bouncy. But yeah, there was a lot of play in my outer tie rod end on the driver's side, and I was really feeling it. I was getting a good wobble, especially because the roads out here are crap. It's amazing. You'd think it'd be a little cheaper to live here, considering the condition of that damn freeway, but it's not. So I did that, and I got a couple new front tires, finally. And I had that blowout like 6 months ago, and I've been running my spare ever since. And then I had some really uneven tread wear on the driver's side because of that crappy tie rod. And sure enough, I got myself a couple new tires, got the tie rod ends, I got a speedo cable. I was supposed to get tail light lenses, but I think the guy didn't understand me when I said I wanted 2 sets, not two, because I got a set for that 61 Apache as well. Mopar Man saying May 24th, 2013. Crazy how long it's been since I started my channel. Jeez, man, what was I doing in 2013? I think that was like I had just moved into my first apartment or something. Yeah, that's a long time. And saying Buff doesn't seem to spend much time in any one place. No, Buff's the man. They need him. He's got a wrench and he will travel. Buff went to Pendleton, Oregon. I'm jealous, man. I love it up north. Eric Kofed is saying I've been doing all right. My girlfriend and I have been hauling cattle as of recently, so definitely been much more busy than I was hauling nothing but dry vans and reefers. Ethan's Mopar Garage is saying it's going to pop out while you're driving. Not the new one, Nathan. At least I hope not. I was worried about it though, because I was driving on like that odd uneven tread wear, and I was feeling the bounce in the tie rod end, and I'm like, this is not good. You know what I mean? So it's like I didn't want to put too many miles on the truck. Dakota's Timeout is saying I'm going to try and start driving my truck, put on tires that hold air, 4-barrel swapping radiator was leaking. Bought a new distributor because it was on the lean burn setup. It's going to be a sweet truck, Dakota. Because Mike's saying tomorrow is my birthday stream. Did they buy everything off of your list, Mike? I forgot to buy you something because I'm a shitty friend. Danny Boyd saying Nathan's Mopar Garage, no more check engine light and a high firm pedal, idling nice. Nice. Dakota's Timeout is saying found a vacuum and Vance Dizzy and Cap with a fancy Mallory box for $80 off eBay. Should be here next weekend. Nice, man. Food Nerd is in the chat saying Mooney. Hi, Ma. How are you? Love you, Ma. BNR is saying need to check caster, camber, and toe. Yeah, Brian, I need to have an alignment done, but I got to replace all the suspension components before I do that because it's still on stock ball joints. And you know what I mean? I can replace some tie rod ends in the parking lot here, but I don't want to be popping rivets off out in the parking lot. So I'll probably wait till I have access to one of my buddy's shops before I get into that. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying I had one pop out when I was driving. It was an experience. Yeah, Nathan, that's why I wanted to get ahead of it, man. So the new one's in there. It feels a lot smoother. I made sure to test drive it. Cousin Mike saying 2013 I was still breastfeeding, 29 years old, but nobody likes a quitter. Dakota's Timeout is saying thought about getting a points distributor but found a bargain on the electronic. Hey, whatever works, man. Any boy saying I like to fix the EGR in my landlord's 98 F-150. Ethan's Mopar Garage just got rid of his lean burn. Dakota's asking if it runs better. Asking Nathan if it runs better. Mopar Man saying if there's any new channels on here. Yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed to Mopar Man 1978, please check him out. He's got some great videos. He does good work. Everything but the lasagna. The Dougster's Wolverine Garage is saying, have no fear, the Dougster is here. We're long hauling, y'all. I'm here to drink beer and kick ass. Luckily I have lots of beer. How you doing, Doug? I haven't been texting you much, man. I've been a little busy over here, but I've been meaning to bug you, ask how you're doing and everything. Nathan saying it is running better, Dakota. He's going to test drive it tomorrow. Nice. BNR saying you can use a long acre bubble caster camber gauge and a tape measure. Time is making sure I didn't miss anything here. Dougster's doing great. I'm glad to hear it, man. Yeah, Brian, I don't know much about alignment. It's something I've never really delved into. We kind of outsourced a lot of that work to a local shop when I was working for the restoration shop. And he does a good job. His prices aren't too bad. So, I mean, I was tempted to go there, but I don't want to go in with a bunch of crappy suspension components, you know what I mean? Stock stuff. And luckily, I don't even have an air hammer to pop the rivets or anything. I guess I could just drill them and grind them, but still, it's easier with the damn air hammer. But Buff Del Campo saying, I learned wheel alignment in the 70s with magnetic hub gauges. Cousin Mike saying, make sure you have plenty of castor oil. Yeah, I did. I mean, I lowered the truck, so it does have that camber in, definitely. And I never did anything to remedy that. I didn't shim anything. I didn't do anything. I just ran the hell out of it. So this is the second time I've had to replace a not very old tire. So I think the next couple months, definitely, I got to get into the front suspension and do some work there because it needs to be done. Chris Sanders is in the chat. Howdy, Chris. How you doing, man? Brian's saying it's cousin Mike Landon's birthday tomorrow, not mine. Tavo was saying that I align with a spirit level and tape measure. I mean, I'm willing to experiment. I'm not opposed to learning. I just know it's an issue that I've been meaning to address. That was kind of what I was trying to get into before the 6-cylinder failed. I had ordered front shocks. I was looking at a sway bar, and I wanted to just replace my suspension components, ball joints, tie rod ends, etc. Pitman arm, just the basics. And they sell a rebuild kit for the steering box as well, which, again, it doesn't feel bad, but it couldn't hurt. But for now, I just got the tie rod ends and I got the upper steering column bearing because I'm getting some wobble up top as well. So, it's just kind of just getting the bare minimum right now. But I do need to get into it. That's the direction I was heading before the 6-cylinder failed. And then, of course, my budget, my time got spent on the V8 swap, which is, again, working fine. You'd swear I would have done a video on it by now. But now that that's running well, I need to get into that. And then I need to get into the rear end as well. I've got a leaky axle seal. So I figured, probably replace the bearings and seals. And just take a look in there. I don't hear any odd noises or anything, so I'm assuming it's all well outside of the seal. But you can only deal with this crap for so long until you really need to get a wrench on it, I guess. Dougster saying tape measure alignment is good. It takes lots of time, but it's good. Nathan's Mopar Garage has got a great question here. He's saying, Ari, where is the V8 burnout video? Soon, Nathan, soon. I even got my bias plies out of storage. Soon. BNR Racing saying, I have an old snap-on bubble caster camber gauge that has a large magnet and sticks to the front hub. I'm jealous, BNR. Anything vintage snap-on, I'm jealous of. Olive Drab is in the chat saying, hey, here's the working one. Yeah, I should have deleted the other one first, but I just wanted to go live. How are you, Olive? Chris Sanders saying, been a while since I've been in the chat. Had a lot going on. Saying, I came into a fortunate situation. Now I'm retired at 31. Fortunate or unfortunate? Are you all right, man? I just turned 31 too, Chris, on last Monday before last, on the 9th. I don't know what day it is. I don't even know what year it is. Gary Dryden's in the chat. Howdy, brother. How are you, Gary? Auto Salvage Outlaws saying, Ari's brother, send me some subs and watch hours. I still gotta send you that In-N-Out cheeseburger, man. Olive saying she's not doing too bad. It's time for more coffee. I was feeling that. I wanted to make some tea or something, but I was running around. I had to hit the laundromat to do my laundry for work this week, and that's why I'm all disheveled. I haven't cleaned myself up yet or nothing. Um, yeah, I wanted to hit the laundromat, and I finished up moderating Tony's stream there, and then I headed straight here. So I was kind of headless chicken. Brian M. saying, damn, brother, Ari, I forgot to give you a birthday shot of whiskey. Brian, I've been forgetting to bring you the bucket for that poor Traeger for a couple months now, so what are you going to do? Chris Sanders saying, really, really fortunate. 31 is a good age. Well, I'm glad to hear it, man. As long as you're all right. Glad you're doing well, man. Yeah, I know you were saying it wasn't the easiest thing over there for a while, or easiest going over there. Gary Dryden's okay. I'm glad to hear it, man. Dean Stevenson's in the chat saying, Mantis. Nathan's Mopar Garage is asking Chris Sanders if he robbed a bank. Dougster saying, I gave Black Betty my '07 Ram, new shoes, Goodyear Wrangler, SRA for $900. Isn't that sad that that's a good price? My beloved Copper Discoverers are $1,300. Oh, Cooper Discoverer. Yeah, I paid $230 something for I have Wrangler radials on the truck. It's one of the cheapest tires I can find in the proper size that has the white raised lettering. That was $230 something. So it would have been a little less than $6 for all four. But I didn't need rear tires because the suspension thing again. Well, the blowout on the passenger side and then the driver's side's got that odd camber. So, but I'm hoping now that I replace that tie rod end, the camber won't be so dramatic, or at least the uneven tread wear won't be as dramatic. I don't know. Buffdo Compo's saying, I'm 69 and I still need to work sometimes. Just came off 2 weeks of UFO alien stuff. Yeah, Buff, you stay at it, man. That's pretty cool. It's not easy traveling for work either, you know what I mean? It's like you're between a hotel and, probably a lot of overtime. Not much to do. You don't really know nobody. It's strange working out of town, so I can imagine it's not the easiest thing. GTI Warrior saying teas, fancy water. Yeah. But Chris, I took your tip on the peppermint tea, and it helped me out, man. I feel like it took the edge off of that whole throat damage of hambo I had going on. And D's in the chat. Howdy, man. How goes? BNR Racing is saying so much going on worldwide. What's going to happen is China is going to cut off all exports to the USA. Very little brew left. China. Nathan spent $1,100 on tires last year. That's right, Nathan. You had the blowouts on the work truck too, huh? Hunter's making a good point here. He's saying, well, we're talking tires. Stay away from BFGs. They suck. They're soft as hell, aren't they, Hunter? They're soft as hell, and they're not cheap. They're not cheap. GTI Warrior is saying, I put 4 of the cheapest tires I could find on my beater, $300 shipped to the house. Here's what got me. The cheap, it cost me $60 to mount and balance 2 tires. $60. That's 4 tires. That's not 2. That's 4, not 2. I'm gonna get my own tire machine at that rate. Dougster's Wolverine Garage is saying, and the bastards don't even smooch us while they're screwing us. Cousin Mike's got a point here. He's saying, my truck tires cost a small fortune. Glad my boss paid the bill. As he should. You're using him up on his land. ASO's saying, most famous outlaw, in bed sick and still getting in trouble, doing nothing. It's the Waylon song. Never thought I'd be an outlaw. You feeling okay, ASO? I know you got a little bit of trouble with your health. Is it just basic sickness, or is it something? As long as you're all right, man, we need you. Dave Lewis is saying more stuff coming from India now. I don't know. I don't know about Indian manufacturing. I really don't. I know a lot of stuff. A lot of Pakistani steel is good quality, which I know that much, but I have no idea. I've been seeing a lot more stuff made in Mexico, which I really like. I feel like Mexican manufacturing is on point. Like the Luck clutch kit I got, some of the Delco parts that I purchased for the 61 I was working on were made in Mexico. And to me, it's a little more reassuring than seeing made in China. I don't. Carmudgeon saying tie rod only affects toe. Really important though. Well, I can still hope, Carmudgeon. Buffalo Campo saying 2,100 miles to Oregon. Drove it in 39 hours, including 2 hours rest. I'm with you there, Buff. I drove to Arkansas from here in 2 days, and I think it was 18 hours one day, and probably about the same the next day. I stopped. I went from Memphis to Albuquerque on the way back, and I stopped in Albuquerque, and then I drove from there straight to California. I was out of it though. Gary Dryden saying the tire discount ain't much of a discount nowadays. Looking at some new low pros for my Deggy, and oh Lord, they've gone up. Yeah, the low pros are expensive as hell, man. Ooh. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying I need to get load range E tires. ASO saying it's 45 a tire here. Really? For Mountain Balance? What the hell happened to the world? Where do I live? Who am I? That's a lot of money. Tabo Garage is making a good point. He's saying I fit and balance my own. Being saying Cooper or Mickey Thompson tires, yes. Hunter's talking about the BF tires. He's saying they're soft and dry and rot for no reason. Heck, a customer at work has a brand new set of them, and they've been on a month. Already cracking, and the tread is soft from dry rot. Chris Sanders is saying Grandpa died. Oh, I'm sorry about that, man. He said left a lot behind. Also got a 68 Mustang and a house and an 89 Mazda SE5. I mean, I'm sorry about your grandpa, Chris, but I'm glad he took care of you, man. That sure does make, going about the rest of, your days a whole lot easier, man. I think you're telling me you're staying in the trailer and everything, Chris, so it'd be nice. You got the house, you got Mustang to tinker with. Hubie's Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Hubie. Hubie, apparently I did a horrible job painting Mr. Z's 61. Dutcher saying my friend swears by BFG. Oh, the secret to BFG is to overinflate them and make them last longer. How much more, I don't know. Aunt D is saying I'm doing good. Toured a Model A shop today and made some new friends. And may have sold my T-bucket body. That'd be a couple extra bucks, man. Aunt D, I don't know if you've ever ordered from CW Moss, but they're not too far from here. GTI Warrior saying I picked up one of the manual tire changers and a bubble balancer from Hazard Fart. That doesn't sound bad, man. Just I get annoyed. It's the same thing as my exhaust, you know what I mean? I get kind of annoyed paying people to do stuff that, I could potentially do. It's just like, ugh. Gary's saying, Nathan, yeah, those load E's get spendy. Oh, man. Tavo Garage is saying, India is where China was a few years ago, but they're working hard to catch up. ASO saying, half side of my head is swelling. Can't see out of my right eye. Body fighting meds. Auto Salvage Outlaws, I'm sorry, man. That doesn't sound like fun at all. I hope you make a quick recovery, and I hope you can see out of your right eye again. I'm pretty much with you, man. I can't see much out of it. I'm damn near blind, but that does not sound like fun at all. Like I said, I'm just glad you're all right. I'm glad you're able to join the chat and yap with us and everything. And I hope you make a good, speedy mend. Get back on your toes, man, because we need you. Buff Del Campo saying I have a tire machine. Time to set it up and start using it. Yeah, it's $30 a tire. I was like, oh, oh. Curmudgeon saying we don't smooch at the tire shop I work at, but we'll pull your unfinished projects in the chat saying castor oil. Unfinished, man. I'm really sorry to hear about the cats. I'm really sorry to hear about that, man. That doesn't. It's insane to me because, you know, prior to this ancient being here, look at him. Prior to Hubie's cat here, I couldn't keep a cat longer than, you know, say 2-3 years, and this dude's about to turn 11. And it's like everybody, same with my mom, she goes through like 5 cats a year, and this one's tenacious, I guess. I don't know, but that really does suck. I'm sorry, man. Cousin Mike's saying maybe Deborah is poisoning his nanner pudding so she can be with Rich. That's low, Mike. Gary Dryden saying some of those Mexican spec parts be good. Yeah, Gary. I mean, I feel like I feel more confident in the Mexican parts, especially it's like brake shoes, clutches, stuff like that. Paul Pahui saying when you see Made in Mexico, you feel like you scored. Indeed, man. I do. Olive saying, hey, Buff. Yeah, seems like you need someone that's Spitfire. GTI Warriors saying nearly all the factory parts for Kenworth and Peterbilt are hecho in Mexico. Well, that makes sense. Like I said, I mean, especially for brake pads and stuff, because you know that they're not going to be constrained like American manufacturing. They're going to be able to use the ingredients they need to actually produce a proper brake shoe or clutch. Unfinished projects saying, all right, just spray your tire down with used oil before each trip. Less friction equals less wear. Unfinished, I swear you probably got like a 55-gallon drum of just used oil that you put on everything. You just like baste the chicken with it. Ian saying, any landing is a safe landing. The joke was not, say, you want an Andy Warhol banana. Dean, did you see that? Did I make that joke to you, or did you come to the same conclusion as me, Dean? The Andy Warhol haircut? Did we come to the same? I would be really proud because I mean, intellectually, you're on a different level than me. So, Unfinished is saying, Adina, I have several Pakistan knives in Dagestan. Sorry. Buffalo Campo saying, I did the Yuma, Arizona to Nashville and back many times in my Corvette. Not a good car for sleeping in rest areas. No, I can't imagine it is. Nathan's asking ASO if Rich beat him up. Dougster saying, Coopers wear like iron. Yes, they break belts. However, usually when a Cooper fails, it's about time to replace the tire anyway. Make sure I'm still on live chat here. QB's Garage is saying, I just did a mountain balance on 4 loose weld wheels and my own tires for 120. I should have used my Harbor Freight tire machine. Yeah, Hubie, it's not cheap, is it? I mean, I'm pretty frugal, you know what I mean? It's a problem, but in the same breath, it's like things just seem pretty dang ridiculous now. I mean, Dougster's asking, Hunter, how do you balance your 8 lugs Do you have the special adapter for balance, or do you use Dynabeads or no balance? And D saying, usually mount my own tires, especially for stuff that doesn't go fast enough to need balanced. Dickie Farley's in the chat. Howdy, Dickie. Make sure I'm getting all the chats here. Sometimes it'll skip a few. And I'm finishing that. It's all over. Cousin Mike, Deb said she's going to bring some Nana pudding, and you're going to wear it. Sand Mountain Ballistics saying, for a while I ran them without balancing them, and then I had the when I had the Michelins, they were perfect. Then I got Coopers, and they needed balance, so I got one of the CNC machine plates. Can't hardly get them to stay out of stock. Paul Pahui saying Akibono pads, Akibono, I might say it wrong, are great and made in USA. Hubie's Garage is saying, my Master Cell rebuild kit I put in the 55 2 days ago was made in Mexico. It was Ray Bestos. It went from Ray Bestos to Ray Bestos. Ray Bestos. Chris Sanders saying Walmart Douglas brand tires are lame, don't last long, really soft and weak tires. I've had good luck with the Douglas tires. You'd be saying Mexico used to be crap for VW parts in the past, but it seems like Mexico parts have climbed the ladder. I've always liked them because they made stove bolt parts. Like a lot of the late 90s and early 2000s parts for the stove bolt 6-cylinders were made in Mexico. And that's what I had on my truck for a long time. And nothing ever failed. It wasn't always the nicest, but nothing ever failed. You compare it to new old stock, obviously it's not going to match up. But you compare it to China, it's, pretty dang good. Cousin Mike's saying most people don't know, but Rich and John Wilburn are identical twins. Just can't tell because John wears a shirt. That's low, Mike. Low. Steal from a dead man. Akaza 2K saying, will the Eagles win against the Dolphins in the NFL? Akaza, I haven't kept up. I'd have to ask my pops because he's more into steadily watching football, and he knows statistics better than me, or stats, whatever. But I'm not sure on that one. Hunter saying like $140. Woo! Olive is saying Pakistan's had its ups and downs with knives quality-wise. I got one recently with nice handwork and great sheath, but crappy steel. I like old crap. I like the old carbon steel knives. I have an old K-bar that's carbon steel, and Aunt D saying I still use tire irons. If I had them, Aunt D, I'd use them. Sand Mountain Bliss saying I almost made one, but then it still wouldn't be CNC machined. Most people would have just balanced them to the drum back in the day. You'd be saying I need to buy a coats machine, but I don't have the room. Yeah, you're pretty packed in there. Dougster saying my tires, Douglas, are great for smoky burnouts. I think Douglas tires are like an off-brand of Goodyear, if I'm not mistaken. And At Zero was the first person to suggest them to me. And I bought a set for my lady's Corolla that have held up pretty well. Hubie's Garage is saying I just had a set of Pro Tracks mounted for my 55. Joe Dirt would be proud. Now I just need some Gabriel hijackers to go with them. All of saying I assumed Takibono was Japanese. It sounds like a sushi restaurant. In fact, every time I say Akebono, you guys got to go Shamaseyo. What did I miss? Brian said something or another. What'd you say, Brian? Brian saying Hubie's Garage. My neighbor works for the company that is bringing back Meyer Manx dune buggies. Those things are pretty sweet. Cousin Mike saying I paid $70 for my antique coats manual tire machine and bubble balance. Lucky bastard. Mike gets the deals though. He comes up on some great stuff. He really does. And that's him being thrifty, you know what I mean? Right place, right time. ASO saying I need to go fund me to buy tires. I'll throw in a couple bucks, man. Chris Sanders saying must be the ones I got last time then. Maybe a bad batch of Dougies. Maybe, Chris. I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, on the Corolla, they've held up, and she puts a lot of miles down on that thing. So I can imagine, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, we've been to Vegas and back a few times, and she drives all out to the desert a good few times, and between down here and LA, she puts a lot of miles on that damn car. So unfinished project is saying my dad has a Coates. I recently bought one, and then a short while later, I got an air assist Coates. Still had the same manual design. I've only used one tire machine. I'm not sure if it was what brand it was. Dada Lebreton is in the chat. Howdy, man. Welcome. Saying ridiculous. Imagine your price tag and double it here in Canada. Even if our money is about 23 to 30% lower, depending on the time of the year. Talking about tires, 14-inch BFs are 300 Canadian each. Damn, man. That's. I mean, I think we would pay a little more than that for like the white walls, like the BF white walls they make. Chris is saying got 4 good years and they seem nice so far. Nice. You be saying I've used the bubble balance and a balancer that you do the wheel on a car, but those are great and do the entire rotating wheel assembly. I never tried one, Hubie. You got to show me. Gary Dryden saying you'll have a splendid night. Off to work I go. Gary, thanks so much for stopping in, man. I hope you have a great week, and I hope work's not too bad on you. Be safe out there. Check your fluids. Ryan M. saying, Hubie's Garage, I've seen a recently built one. They're considered to be a kit car, but based on the 70 VW Bug chassis. They also built a version with the Subaru engine supercharged. It sounds a little deadly. Unfinished project saying they're actually dug less. Cousin Mike saying my Coates has the air bead breaker, but it's blown out. Dougster saying I was playing just today with Atlas Old School Tire Machine and had to reseal 3 tires today. Wire wheel aluminum, three wheel beads. Lots of goop and reseal. The beads were white with corrosion. Dang, that sounds like a whole lot of fun, man. And D saying I picked up the tire irons when I was working at Napa almost 20 years ago and well worth it. They work a lot better than screwdrivers. Oh, hell yeah. Cousin Mike saying it's a lot of work finding the deals I get. You get some good stuff, though, man. And it's like, I mean, where the hell do you even find that? It's a lot of it, at least, I feel like. I don't know. See if I can set this phone up now that it's got a charge. I was low battery from watching Tony's stream. Get you guys a horrible angle on me, as if there is a good angle on me. Oh man, that's a little better. Don't have to hold nothing. Out of Lebreton says 300, the 300 number that hurts the eyes. That's pretty bad, man. But I know they've been sticking it to you guys in Canada for a few years at least. I don't know if it's been a decade or what, but Tabo Garage is saying pay about $60 Australian for the neon and about $80 for each of the van tires. That's reasonable. Chris Cadman saying always take a shovel and tarp when you go to the desert. Aunt D saying doing tires at the last job, $295.75 or 22.5. In the 11R, we just used lube and irons. Set the bead with the bazooka. Yeah, I mean it's a little, it's a little more physical, but just the same. It's doing the same process. So I'm with you, man. Yeah. So you saying you're gonna head out, or you want me to head out? I'm gonna come down to Alabama. I'm gonna get some soul food, right? Some collard greens, hush puppies, good mac and cheese. California is a horrible place. Unfinished St. Dougster, I have the 220, but no shop. Unfinished, I thought you had like a, or is that's where you work, huh? Where you store the cat diesel and everything, or the Freightliner. Hubie's Garage is saying Brian and Bruce Myers was awesome. My pinstriper / letteral has an original Manx. Nathan's Mopar Garage is out for the night. Nathan, always appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great week out there, and talk to you before too long, I'm sure. But be safe. Check your fluids, man. But yeah. So if you're heading out, man, again, I appreciate you stopping through as well. I hope you feel better. Hope you make a quick recovery. That doesn't sound like the most simple, issue you're dealing with, but just the same, I hope you come right back and everything's okay there, man. And we appreciate you always. And have a good week, brother. Check your fluids. Buffalo Campo is asking, has anybody used Hankook tires? There's a huge Hankook factory here in Clarksville, Tennessee. Buff, I haven't ever personally. Cousin Mike's saying they're pretty good. Chris Sanders saying Dougster would actually be a great name for some nice tires. Buffalo Campo saying I was thinking about getting Hankooks. I know a lot of cars come new with the Hankook tire. I think Hankook, Han Solo. I don't know what. A lot of cars come new with them, but I lack the experience. Unfinished projects in Buff Hankooks where Panakoken. When I'm in Holland, I eat the Panakoken. Bless my heart. I don't even know how to speak. Saying they were on the unfinished, had a Hankooks on the Dart when he bought it, tread separated, they looked as new. Weird. And DC, one of our old managers threw our tire machine in the scrap metal dumpster a month before I got cheese. Everyone's telling ASO to feel better. Lots of well wishes there. ASO is a great member of the community, always absolutely supportive, polite, and cordial. And I like the hell out of him, so I hope he's doing all right. Paul Pahui's saying I've had good luck with the Coopers. Paul, I'm saying your last name right? I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. Danny Boyd saying Herbie Hancock. What was that movie? That's from Tommy Boy. Well, I mean, I know Herbie Hancock is Herbie Hancock, but Tommy Boy is where Chris Farley puts down Herbie Hancock instead of John Hancock. Paul's saying close enough. I got to get it right, man. You're in here. You're a valued subscriber, man. I don't want to be butchering your name. Lord knows my name is like just too many letters and syllables, so I should be able to get yours. Cousin Mike's saying unfinished project. Don't know if a Dodge has ever run long enough to wear a set of tires. It's kind of a point. Chris Sanders is saying, I whacked a Hankook against a median so hard one time, it knocked the breath out. It literally, steam came out of the bead and still held after I reinstalled it. Jeez. Unfinished project saying, Mike, just give me a call. I can come tow you home in the W350. That truck is sweet, unfinished. Pretty damn sweet. Buff Del Campo is saying, I've been buying Michelin Pilot Sports for years, but they are expensive. Maybe I'll get Hankooks and try to support the locals. Doesn't sound bad. All I'm saying, I've heard decent things about some Hankook tires. Anyway, never had any. Paul is saying, you can just call me Paul P. Am I saying it that bad, man? I'm butchering Paul's name. Paul P. I'll do Paul P, though. Dave Lewis is saying Sumitomo tires. Samaseo had a great V tread pattern. I'm gonna have to look it up, Dave. I'm unenlightened. Danny Boyd saying Chris Sanders, I tore mine running into a tapered barrier on a highway. The taper twisted the car and cracked the windshield. Whoo-wee. Dada Lebreton is saying Hankook tires, like Hyundai 30 years ago, they were cheap and reliable. Now they're both in the top brand. Anyone saw a Hyundai Pony in their life? They were the indestructible car of the 80s. I'm unenlightened, Dada. Mr. Lebreton. Such a good name. Must be pretty good. Terrible price. Opar Man saying we're back. Cousin Mike says no need to tow a running vehicle. Pehui. Pehui. Right? No? It'll bother my mind. Like I said, I try to have as much respect for you guys as I can. I appreciate you guys coming through the live stream, and it's the least I can do to pronounce your name right. And DC, and I've had good luck with the Hankooks as well. Unfinished saying Paul sounds like he might listen to some pretty good music. Opar Man saying, Dean, did you know it's bad luck to kill a priest with a fountain pen? Nice flappers you got there, nerd. I'll take it. Pajui. Cole's was saying, was that a good one? That's good. No, you're good. Welcome. Is that Cole ZXA? Is it ZA? Cole? No, I appreciate it. I don't, I mean, I'm a father. I don't have an identity. I don't care much about my appearance, but if it's entertaining, that's good. Pajui. That's got to be the ADHD, Paul. It's like they call it overanalyzation, paralyzation, to where I picture like 40 ways to do something and can't conclude one. I hear noise out here. 2 seconds, guys. I gotta make sure anybody's messing with my truck. You guys will see me in the paper next. Oh, fuck. It's just the twats from the music school. Oh. We're all good. Chris is saying all the cool guys are named Chris. Cousin Mike is saying my truck has Cooper Discover STT Pros. Cousin Mike tested, already approved. Danny Boyd saying Charlie Pride always had a kick-ass pedal steel guitar in his songs. The best pedal steel player, I think Don Helm. Don Helms, of course. Don Helm was Hank Williams' pedal steel player, but Ralph Mooney was the one who played for Waylon. Those are probably my two favorite players. Dada Lebreton is saying Dada is daddy in French. It's like Papa in Northeast French slang. I'm in New Brunswick. It's a province just above Maine for those who never heard of it. Yeah, yeah. You were saying your name was Darren, right? If I'm not mistaken. Brian M. saying you can laugh when I tell you this, but I know when that building style of Jack in the Box, what the building style of that Jack in the Box is from. That's the one, Brian. That's the one on El Toro. GTI Warrior saying paralysis by analysis. I struggle with that too. You know what I mean? Little poor man saying, Ari, that's what tracer rounds are for. Darren, yeah, Darren, yeah. Because Dada Lebreton, it's got a good ring to it. It's almost like Zsa Zsa Gabor. But Darren Lebreton, that's a pretty badass name, man. Pejui. Paul Pejui. Thank God. Sorry, Paul. I've been butchering your name for weeks now. Months. Rusted Junk Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Steve. How are you, man? Chris Sanders saying, still need to start up Ari and the Chevettes doo-wop band. Num. Oh, man. Blue moon, blue moon. Blue moon. Sorry, guys. You guys can blame Chris for that. Yubi's greeting Steve. Cousin Mike saying, want to grow your channel? Hit up my birthday live tomorrow night. Should be packed with cool people and entertainment. Check it out. Yeah, Cousin Mike is having a birthday tomorrow, and he's going to do a live stream. It'll probably be interesting. I don't think there's going to be any kind of chicken sacrifice or anything like that this time. But Mike's lives are full of a bunch of different people from all over the world, different backgrounds, a lot of people from different countries, namely the Philippines. And great people, always very down to earth, very supportive. And they, if you check their channels out, they really offer a different perspective, different way of life. And it's interesting. Check it out. Oh, poor man saying, what about Lenny and the Squig? Tabo Garage is saying, where's the real Ari, the one who can sing? He fell asleep. Fell asleep about a couple hours ago, Tabo. Brian M's getting the Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box trivia from Brian M. When I started bouncing bars when I was like 19 years old, and I was even skinnier than I am now. And a lot of the guys, because of the whole greaser look I had going on, would call me Bowser from Shanana, which I still find hilarious. Cousin Mike said you can get a sub and a wife in one stop. Cousin Mike saying 7 years since his mom passed. I'm sorry, Mike. Whenever you talk about her, she sounds like a real cool lady. Obviously, she's decent. She didn't raise you into a serial killer or nothing. Cousin Mike saying, Ari, how high can you bounce a bar? Challenge accepted. You be saying, Cousin Mike, those anniversary dates suck. They still hurt. Yeah, yeah. I don't really like talking about that kind of stuff personally, but I lost my grandma in September, and I mean, she was 95. Her joke was cut down in her prime. She'd say that about her for older friends that passed, but it kind of sucks. And I try not to even memorize dates like that. I try to. Yeah, that's probably trauma speaking, but it's hard to reflect on sometimes. But I mean, what can you do? Nobody lives forever, I guess. Rusted Junk Garage, Rusted Steve saying doing good. Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. How's it up north? Is it getting cold? Is it rainy yet? Cousin Mike saying it's also my baby sister's birthday today. Unfinished project saying quite the assumption there. All right. I'm pretty bad with that unfinished. Gozer and the Keymaster. Hunter's calling it a night, saying take care and keep your powder dry. Hunter, have a great week, brother. Don't work too hard out there. Those stupid old cars will finish themselves eventually. Thanks for stopping in always, and check your fluids, man. Hope you have a great week, brother. XN's in the chat saying, what bugs make those sounds? Those are crickets, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of crickets around here. They're pretty loud. El Grillo, as the natives say. Paul saying, none of us are getting out of here alive. No, definitely not, Paul. One chipmunk says this. Hubie's Garage is saying, don't cross the streams. That would be bad. Aunt D's saying it's 11:30. I got to call it a night. Yeah, I feel you there, Aunt D. You too, man. Always appreciate you coming through. I'm glad things are going well. It's cool you sold the tea bucket and everything, and hope to see you next week. Have a great week, man. Check your fluids. Unfinished project saying, my mom checks the obituaries to make sure she ain't dead yet. She has to be sure. Yeah, Hunter, don't do what I did. Oh man. Buff Del Campo saying, back in the house, the shop sure looks better, and Kim made some parts for his skid steer. That's pretty badass. Kim's a really good mechanic. Kim's a really good mechanic. Clever person. Clever person. Olive saying coffee may finally be kicking in. Sleepy weather here. Buff is saying she is awesome. Yeah. Kim's pretty badass. Kim's pretty badass. Tavo's saying, good work, Buff. Any chance you can come here and sort mine out now? Unfinished project saying, asking what's Kim using the skid steer for? Engine hoist? Skid steer is good for everything. Dean saying, check the lavatory fluids. Buff Del Campo saying, sometimes an engine hoist. Good for everything. good for everything. Yeah, I'm not big on operating little equipment like that. Mostly because I suck at it, and I'll admit that it's not. I know it's not difficult, but I'm dumb. So, he's saying water cylinder. Chris Sanders saying just put 200 miles on the old Lincoln today and didn't blow it up. Thank goodness. Mopar Man saying just don't use an oil pump for a turbocharger. Well, that'd be a supercharger technically, right? Chris is saying skid steer drag racing. GTI Warrior saying skid steer is a Leatherman of equipment. Indeed. Indeed. I used to work with an old Mustang skid steer when I was doing plumbing in my when I was younger, and I didn't enjoy it much. Hubie's Garage is saying I ran a D4 Cat front loader for 3 summers. That was fun. Pretty badass. Tabo was saying multi-purpose tool loader, forklift, bulldozer, sweeper, everything. XN saying, cool, we don't have that here. Climate's too cold, but the aesthetic of hearing crickets at night reminds me of going on holidays as a child. It feels like a lifetime ago now. Time flies. It definitely does. XN, I don't notice it as much, but apparently it really does come through on my live streams. But it is really pleasant, you know what I mean? Especially once everything winds down here and all you can hear is the crickets. It's definitely pleasant. That's cool. It took you back a little bit. Where did you go on holiday? Unfinished project saying my wife asked if I'd seen the cat bowl. If I'd seen the cat bowl. Said I don't know if he could. Oh man. Yeah, Hubie's good at running most everything, it seems. Seeing him back a trailer up was pretty badass. He's like a surgeon with that damn thing. Buff Del Campo saying she tried the oil bump for a supercharger, but it galled up. She thought it would be good for an eighth mile at a time on a monkey bike. Opar Man saying we have a new couple that shops at Menards now. They're from Australia. Australia! XN saying France. I've never been to France. Never been to Spain either. But I do want to see it someday. Vacation for me is like I go up to the Pacific Northwest or something like that. So that's pretty cool to go somewhere with some culture. Chris Anderson, my cruise control quit working. Can't find the problem. But the vacuum thing's got a hole in it. Maybe the vacuum thing's got a hole in it? Weird. Dean's saying he hopes you put the displays up the wrong way. Donna Lebreton is saying, ask AI to reproduce it. A cat bowl. Shit is scary accurate on details. XN saying, I remember seeing sunburnt grass for the first time and then realizing why they call my home the Emerald Isle, as I never realized it was so green. Yeah. And it's pretty much stays that way, right? There's a lot of moisture once you get up towards the highlands and everything, right? That's pretty. That's such a different perspective. I'm from California, where I mean it's pretty much a desert that they're trying to fight with landscaping. Docher saying the super cool thing is it worked. Great idea. GTI Warrior saying I've seen London, I've seen France, but I can't see my underpants. Buff is asking where XN is located. Buff said the Emerald Isle, which, to my knowledge, is Ireland, right? Am I that ignorant? I could be ignorant. I'm pretty ignorant. Paul Pajui's out for the night, saying good night all. I'm turning in. Paul, thanks for stopping in always, man. I appreciate you, brother. And I'm glad I finally got your name right. And again, really appreciate you coming through, man. You're a great dude. And I hope you have a great week. Be safe. Make sure to check your fluids. XN saying you're right. Yes, the beautiful Emerald Isle. Will you come to the bower over a free boundless ocean where stupendous waves roll in thunder in motion? Tata Leberton saying, oui, oui, non, non, baguette, vive la France, and its yellow jackets. Dean Stevenson saying, my Spanish cousin is coming with his Colombian wife to see me in November. Hope he asks his wife to bring the white powder. Chris Cadman saying Quebec City is nice. Donna Leberton saying Tabernac, Quebec. I've never been that far north. Cousin Mike's headed to bed. He's saying later, humans. Later, Cousin Mike. I'll see you on your live stream tomorrow, I'm sure. Oh, poor man saying saying, Dean, I told him I have a low budget, average Joe YouTube channel and have a few friends that are Kiwis and Aussies. The guy said something about Kiwis. Do you guys hate one another? Yeah, they don't really. It's not like a thing. They don't. Buff Del Campo's saying, I spent a summer in the UK. That place is green. I was living in the Arizona desert at the time. It's a stark contrast. Leberton is saying Tabernac is a French swear. XN saying have a nice night. XN, thanks so much for stopping in. You too. And appreciate all the comments and just being around. It adds to the conversation. Have a great night. Have a great week. And I tell everybody, this is in an automotive context, but to check your fluids. Unfinished project saying powdered sugar on the pavlova. Dickie Farley saying back from walking the dog. Now I'm going to eat though. Still listening though. Nice, man. How was the walk? Table Garage is saying we really love our Kiwi neighbors, but enjoy taking the piss regularly. It's a mutual thing. Taking the piss. I think Kiwi from Kiwi's Garage, Kiwi's Customs and Classics ought to make that one of his stickers, just taking the piss. Mopar Man saying I've seen some pretty hot Aussie and Kiwi chicks. Yeah. They would come visit. I worked a bar in kind of a destination here. And they would come visit. And they're always really pretty. Dean saying no, Aussies are well-rounded and more like good Americans. Kiwis sort of like Californians. I like that comparison. I like Tony's description of New Zealand and Australia. He said that Australia was like a rock with a bunch of kangaroos on it, and then New Zealand's kind of like a raft. And I laughed so hard when he said that. Like a raft. Danny Boyd saying I took a piss in the driveway 2 days ago. Donna Leberton saying they say tabernac as often as F word and Ron Jeremy hit movie. Nice. Tabernac. I got to use that now. Tabo Garage is saying, I will admit Kiwi chicks are hotter than Aussies. I don't know if I've ever really met Kiwi girls. Olive saying much excretion being referred to tonight. Sorry, Olive, it's my fault. I need a better catchphrase. I do. To stop telling people to check their fluids. But it's so good, you can't stop saying it. Dougster say leave a piss. The old George Carlin. Leaving a piss. Donna Liberton is saying Trinidad and Tobago are la creme de la creme. I know I had some Trinidad scorpion peppers that I was trying to grow this year, but they wouldn't produce fruit. I don't know if I just wasn't getting good pollination. I know that it's an heirloom variety. It's not a hybrid, so I think I wasn't getting good pollination. So I didn't get any fruit, and then the plant just started to act unhappy, so I had to toss her. Hubie's Garage is saying I have a buddy from Long Beach who lived in Perth and then moved to Auckland. Dan saying pissing is like a drug. Buff Del Campo saying get a beehive. Buff, if I lived somewhere more rural, I totally would. When I had a full garden, I had banana trees, and they get these crazy, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a banana flower, but it's got a bunch of multiple flowers on it, and they attracted a lot of bees. Those and the tobacco that I grew would attract a lot of bees and hummingbirds, which, I got really good yields and good pollination on a lot of heirloom stuff I would grow, but it's not the same now that I don't have a full garden. But I wouldn't mind, Buff. You'd be saying Latin lettuce? I am not a fan of the devil, but I do love his lettuce. Buff Del Campo is saying I had many beehives, but last year it got way too cold. They're gone. That's a bummer. All I'm saying, bees can use the habitat and all. Yeah, I always tried to. I didn't, it's not USDA organic, but I always used natural fertilizers. A lot of compost, compost teas. I never really used much of a foliar nutrient, but I'd use neem oil to keep the bugs off, and no nicotine-based anything. Thankfully. Danny Boyd saying, I wish broads would start wearing the beehive hair again. Dan, my lady, not so much anymore now because we have a son and a lot of shit to do. But when I first met her, she would do the beehive. Unfinished project is asking, Dean, why is 80% of New Zealand empty? You can say, never underestimate the stupidity of people in large groups. Hubie's Garage is saying those are Fred G. Sanford references to weed. The Latin lettuce, yeah. Tabo Garage is saying bees have made a big hive in one of my outer wall cavities. Well, that sounds sketchy. I don't know if I want them in the walls. Olive is saying because 80% of New Zealand is nearly vertical. Good point. Barrow's Garage is in the chat saying, hello, everybody from the Rain Dogs of Sandy, San Diego. Brother Bear, I work tomorrow. I'm not sure if they're going to have me doing any overtime, but I'll probably get back down towards this area around 6 o'clock. or so, but I'll definitely give you a call, see what you're doing, man. And if you're busy, you know what I mean? I know you guys are trying to enjoy your time down here. You don't spend it with old YouTube me or nothing, but just the same. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to see you, brother. Dean Stevenson saying because 20% of New Zealanders haven't moved to Australia yet. Baby's Garage is saying, Dean, my buddy was a lifeguard in Long Beach, moved to Perth to surf and did articles for Surfer Magazine, then went to Auckland as a pastor. That's pretty cool. Gotta admire the pastor. Though, admittedly, church was a little bit politically charged for me in the past weeks. Which, there's more, it's pretty forgivable. Arrow's Garage saying, be cool as all get out to see you while we're here, man. Yeah, of course, brother. Like I said, as long as I'm not, I don't want to be ruining your guys' vacation with my face. But but just the same, it'd be cool to see you. Hopefully in a venue where there's no taco DJ. But yeah, and the truck is actually running this time, Brother Bear, so that's something. Queen Diana, hola. Thank you. I'm a little bit disheveled there. Welcome to the chat. Dean's Tabo Garage is saying, Dean, what's the ratio of people to sheep over there? Oh, that's good. I like that one. Hubie's Garage is saying, hi, Barrows. A kid and I were watching your Ultimate 200 welder video tonight. Oh, well, $200 welder? Or just 200 welder? I'm unenlightened, Hubie. Dada Liberton saying, you guys don't have snow, like 3 or 4 feet of it over your car? Here, the ancient could predict how much snow was going to fall from how high the bee and wasp nests were high in the trees. It still works? That's pretty rad. Like a natural gauge of how high the snowfall is going to be. That's really awesome, actually, Darren. Unfinished project saying 5 sheep per person concurrently. Dean saying 45 million sheep, 500,000, 3.5 people, Tavo. We used to have 65 million sheep. Darren, there's definitely like so much stuff that they had down, you know what I mean? It was like a simpler solution to I lost my train of thought. There was no train. Let's face it, there was no train. It's funny how many things they had figured out naturally with very little tools or science or anything else, and it just worked. Like brain tanning. That's fascinating to me. All I've seen is California. They tend to find snow mysterious and alarming there. True. I mean, it depends where you are, Olive. Up towards the mountains, obviously there's going to be more snow, but down here you got to drive a couple hours to see it, for sure. Danny Boyd's asking if you can make heroes out of sheep. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. Unfinished, you're getting babe on me? RMU. RMU. Oh man, you took me back. Hubie's Garage is making a great point here. He's saying they suddenly forget how to drive when it rains in California. Yeah, I can imagine. And plus, you know what I mean, all those years as a first responder, you had to deal with the idiocy, the result of the idiocy that occurs on the road when it rains. I can imagine it's frustrating for you. I I mean, I'm pretty normal about it. I just kind of reduce speed and keep a little bit more distance. But people are like, I need to drive 5 miles an hour, and the other people are like, there's nothing on the road. I better drive as fast as I can, which isn't a good mix. Mopar Man saying, Ari, my dad does all the Native American mountain man stuff like brain tanning. Has he ever burned a wagon, Mopar Man? Sean is saying, did you know Jesus was born in Africa? So that means whites stole Jesus' family? I never heard about that, Sean, but I've heard a little bit about the rains in Africa. Olive saying, Georgia's like that. People lose all sense in the rain. Olive, that can't be the easiest thing for you to live in Georgia after growing up in New England. That really can't be the easiest thing. Just daily culture clash. African isn't no Black Moses is the Isaac Hayes album. Black Jesus was James Brown, right? I don't know. Dave Lewis is saying it's 36 degrees here tonight now and dropping. First frost warning. Tabo's saying it never rains in Southern California. A little bit, tiny bit. Olive's saying, yeah, I feel really not from here a lot. Olive, my brother lived there for years, almost 10 years, I think, and he still hasn't quite gotten over it. Donna Leberton is saying we have 50 acres of blueberries, blueberry field of my parents, and usually there's 2 to 3 underground wasp nests hidden. 0 this year, but last week I found 3 nests, hunting them from 12 to 25 feet high. I'll let you know. Sorry if I don't write fast. No, man, you're all good. Chris Sanders saying, oh, and love is never on time. Mopar Man saying, to quote a comedian, Georgia is like Africa, but with buildings. Sean saying, Egypt, Palestine, and Israel and Bethlehem were all in Africa. Where was the white race back in those days? Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't really answer that. I'm kind of ignorant. Hubie's Garage is saying, I had an engineer who hydroplaned and installed the engine twice in the same flooded intersection, going on 2 calls. The captain was not happy. Hubie, you told me about that when you were saying that was right on Westminster Boulevard. He was trying to make the light on Hoover. Auntie Cher is saying personal Jesus was INXS. Olive saying, been down here long enough to become kind of easily chilled at embarrassingly clement temperatures. Buff Del Campo saying, I like the weather in Yuma, Arizona. It's a little cool here tonight in Tennessee, 48. Buff, it's probably nice in Yuma right now. It's probably about perfect. Barrow's Garage is saying, Jesus don't want me for a sunbeam. He prefers MGBs. Sean saying, where was the white race in biblical times? Sean, I kind of see what you're getting at, because a lot of modern depictions of Jesus look a lot like Kenny Loggins. And I don't think that's accurate. I mean, really, if you look like at a candle or something, Jesus looks just like Kenny Loggins. It's like Highway to the Manger Zone. Dean Stevenson saying, I worked with a guy called J.J. Selassie. He keeps telling me how smart his father and mother were. Unfinished Project saying, Sean, you don't know if you weren't there. Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. Chris Cadman saying, personal Jesus Hubie's Garage is saying Westminster and Hoover, he had to shut all the lights down, reset the system, and restart the engine. That must have been embarrassing. Sean saying, how did the white race survive in Jesus' days without sunscreen or AC? I don't know. I could imagine, especially a lot of the Anglo people, you know what I mean, would be very pink in those days, but I'm not sure. GTI Warrior saying Obi-Wan was Jesus. If you strike me down now, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Danny Boyd saying we survived with alcohol. Chris Cadman saying Ari is living behind the dumpster at the airport. No, Chris, that would be some good digs compared to what I got. Olive saying everyone else in the world could hang out and not be worried about them. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Again, Mongo is only pawn in Game of Life. Donna Leberton is saying, hey, Barrows, I'm still waiting on that 58 Ford drivetrain swap finish videos. I was asking back then about it since I had a 58 Meteor Rideau 500, Canadian Fairlane 500 version. That sounds badass. Darren, I just finally learned that the Beaumont was a Canadian Chevelle. Mopar Man's got a point here. He's saying if you look at the Bible, they refer to people as red-haired or blonde-haired people in Genesis. Mopar Man, I don't even like Phil Collins that much. Hubie was telling me to read Genesis too, and I said the same thing. I was like, I don't really even like Phil Collins that much. Why would I Genesis? Buff Del Campo was saying, this was so good. I came back from home, and after almost 3 weeks, I started the Valiant and drove it to the store. No problems. That's always rewarding. Dan's not big on religion. Barrow's Garage has got a great point here. He's saying in California, that dumpster runs $2,500 a month. That's without utilities. Pretty soon they're going to start charging me an existence tax. Breathing. There must be some misunderstanding. Must be some kind of mistake. I waited in the rain for hours. You were late. Good old Genesis. Yeah. I'm an ass. Mom's saying not in Truckee. Yeah, they got some snow in Truckee for sure. Hubie's Garage is saying Phil Collins isn't doing well right now. Is that a joke, Hubie? I don't know if it's. Donna Leberton saying Beaumont is a Quebec city. A lot of Canadian cars in Canadian cities named just like USA cars. Yeah, Beaumont. Well, Beaumont's a city in Texas and out here as well. There's out towards Palm Desert. There's a place called Beaumont. Ah, Phil Collins. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, Olive saying I wanted to do a real creepy goth version of Mama, but my band wasn't up to it. Sean saying there was no air conditioning or sunscreen in Adam and Eve times. Where did the white rays come from? I don't know. I mean, in everyone's defense, there was not really sunscreen or AC even 100 years ago. So it's like, they were there at that time. They were busy colonizing and, yeah, doing stuff, man. He's in really unfinished project saying he's in really bad shape. That's not good. Dada Leberton saying I woke his wife with sing. I'm sorry, man. It's like he's good. Thanks, man. Tell you what, I'm better at singing and cooking than I am at working on cars, but I can't make money off of either of those things. So unfinished projects got a point. He's saying I grew up without sunscreen and AC. Sean saying, how did the white race get to America? On ships. Sean, a good place to learn about the white race is from Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks. I think his view is very unbiased and definitive. Olive Draft saying, ironically, I was better at sounding whiskey drenched before I drank that much whiskey. Dean saying, they came from the land of the wrong white crowd, Ari, New Zealand. Donna Leberton saying, as long as you're happy and your son is happy, daddy's good. Yeah. Yeah, no, the kid's great. Kid's absolutely great. I mean, I'm honestly shocked that he, you know, like I had a kid that's great. But unfinished projects, and I was born here, just like most people who get everywhere. Sean, I actually know a guy named Jesus. He worked in the dish pit at a restaurant I worked for, and he was a really nice dude. And I think he got to America. It was either on a bus, but he did mention crossing a river. All I'm saying, I came to Georgia by Mitsubishi. Yeah, it's kind of funny to me that John Wilburn. Hey, John. John's in the chat saying there was no reason to think Jesus was white. The modern depiction of Jesus looks like Kenny Loggins. So for a long time, especially as a kid, I thought Kenny Loggins was Jesus. But now that I understand that he's not, I'm wondering why everyone's depiction looks so much like him. Boat, land bridge, airplane. Unfinished project saying, what are you getting to, Sean? Just come out and say it. Unfinished project saying, Footloose. GTI Warrior saying, I'm danger zone. Get right, danger zone. John Wilburn saying simple, all right? A lot of people can't handle the thought. I mean, I don't know. It's it's kind of an insignificant aspect of like, I don't know. I mean, why are we more focused on a guy dying for sin rather than the whole skin color thing? I don't really. Donna Leberton saying Jesus was Aramaean from Israel. I got me some of that Mesopotamian blood. I got me some of that Scots-Irish blood on the other side. Girl's Garage is saying, I'm Scots-Swede. We rolled down the windows and headed west looking for the land of milk and honey. We settled on a B-girl and a double-double on the beach. Africa. I did not know that. John Wilbur saying agreed, but it's still funny. Yeah, I don't feel like it should be a point of focus. I don't know. I mean, because I don't know. I mean, and then especially in the past few years, I feel like people have like a huge issue with people being white, which is pretty shitty to me. You know, I mean, I'm kind of off white, but my mom is very white, and to think that people would think less of her because of that is very upsetting. And I don't know. There's a lot of like blaming, odd virtue signaling that goes on, and I try not to get the live stream political, but it does annoy me. It's like, why? What does it matter? You know what I mean? Is it? Uh, I don't know. Dada Leberton say, when you close your eyes, you speak with the soul. Soul has no colors. Oh, no, definitely not. One poor man, 1978, is saying people don't read Bibles very well. No, they don't. No. How much of the Bible do they say not to speculate on? And that's all people do is speculate. What are you going to do? Dougster saying, Jesus and his brother Miguel Angel worked in my production shop. Chris Sanders digs some Kenny Loggins from time to time. Dave Lewis is saying, I'm an American mutt. Exactly. Buff's a mutt. We're all mutts. We're all mutts. I mean, yeah. Well, I'm saying Genesis is awesome. Yeah. Oh, not talking about Phil Collins, Ma? What is this? We got messages held for show Dan's message. Unfinished made a good point there. Buff Del Campo saying Genesis. All right, Sean. I listened to your spiel, but you can go for the night. Perro's Garage is saying people are cars. They are all good in their own way, even if that Ford fights you every step of the way. They're not easy to deal with, and I feel like that's kind of a lot of car guys graduate to a Ford because of that. You know what I mean? They invite the challenge, but someone as simple as me, I got no business messing with a Ford. I mean, maybe if the stock, the car is stock, and I'm just working with existing systems, maybe, but I don't need a Ford. I wouldn't mind one to work on though. I really like Ford trucks. I like Mustangs. I'd like to have a Mustang for the lady more so than myself. Olive saying my body is an Italian sports car that some fool took off-roading. Jesus, Ma. Contain yourself. Buff Del Campo saying, I moved to Tennessee in a Ford truck. They're nice trucks. You know what I mean? They've suffered some, design flaws and everything else throughout the years, but you know what I mean? If you know it's like if you know what you're dealing with, it's good, right? Dougster saying the Ford engineers circled the problem on front of their cars. John Wilburn saying, I just wanted to give MM78 another reason to dislike me. Mission accomplished. I don't know what you guys got going on, but you guys need to like smoke the peace pipe or something. You know, as sit together. You got too much in common to not get along. We all do. I try to stay out of that type of stuff, but I guess you got a large group of people. People are bound to disagree and have issues here and there. I tend to be pretty Switzerland about everything because, again, I'm often not around when issues occur. But I don't know. Again, indifferent. Dave Lewis is saying my last F250 had 26 different U joints listed in the parts book. Yeah, see that's not. We don't need any of that. Auto Salvage Outlaw saying, "Ari, go look at my community post. I'll check it out, man. Hey, you should be resting though, brother." Perro's Garage is saying the only reason I say Ford is because I can't spell Peugeot. It's like Peugot. It's like Pugot. Puget. Olive's got a great point here. Very American point. She's saying freedom of religion is supposed to mean that someone else's religion has not made your problem. Yeah, and well, Olive, and there's supposed to be a separation of church and state too, but there really kind of isn't. Donna Liberton makes a good point, saying, "Well, we're not supposed to talk about religion and politics. I've hit both tonight. We're not supposed to talk about them, but I'll read this one." Donna Liberton saying, "If he would come back, just what whatever his thoughts." He's saying Jesus must have done something important. People still talk about him 2,000 years later. Believe in spirits, a near-death experience. Yeah, I believe you, man." Doug's just saying Ari is very Switzerland. He's neutral and peaceful. He also packs a hell of an arsenal hidden in plain sight. I mean, I just, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy poking some fun here and there. Hopefully, nothing too personal or heavy, you know what I mean? I think I kind of struck a nerve with Rich. But, again, you know what I mean? I don't want to be making anybody's life harder, especially not on YouTube. That seems pretty childish to me. Like I said, I hurt Rich's feelings, I think, and that kind of made me feel bad because I wasn't trying to. Honestly, I wish I could lend him a hand with that Chevy. Probably get it running, but just the same. That's not my goal here. If I was on YouTube, I'd need a whole separate account because if I was on YouTube allowing myself to criticize everything the way I want to, I'm a cynical bastard. So I would probably be demonetized, not demonetized, but just deleted off of YouTube. All of that's funny. You damn cat. What are you even doing? GTI, where are you saying if his feelings get hurt that easily, it's his problem? Yeah, but I mean, it's rare that I even, joke around much on YouTube, and it's like, of course, the one time I make the exception, somebody's like, "Oh, I feel harassed," and I'm like, "Oh God, of course." But I don't know, but I'm with you, man. Pissed him off, and he threw you under the bus. He's saying he tried to fight him or something, which I don't know, man. I think I'd have to work pretty hard to get on that level with you, man. We always get along. You don't strike me as an overly confrontational person. And yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem to have much regard for folks. I think it was like a couple of veterans he disrespected, and that kind of sucks too, because it's, you know what I mean. And even if you don't care about it much personally, you know, the average veteran has sacrificed more. Just in general, it doesn't matter if you're patriotic or not. You know, they had to do some serious shit for their money, so it's like you show them a little more respect. At least that's how I feel. I don't know. Dada Leberton's just saying, I'm just saying, after you have a near-death experience, you have a sixth sense. Trust me, being a male nurse for 20 years, palliative, goes for a common discussion. I felt weird things sometimes. I believe you, Darren. I'm not trying to write off any of your experience at all. I'm 100% with you there. And there are so many unexplained things that happen, odd feelings, little hair on the back of your neck type situations, and I'm sure most people here would agree. Unfinished Project is saying, no one can do anything with that guy. Go back through his channel, same issues, different people from the beginning. Yeah, I noticed that. He wasn't keen to take any advice. And he's got some really qualified people giving him advice. And folks like Barrow's Garage, you know, Brother Bear, he gave me advice for putting together my engine that I'm fairly certain is why my break-in went well, was because of him. And he gave a lot of advice to Rich, and he didn't listen. So I mean, I understand that too. But again, you know what I mean? If he's stubborn, if he's in his ways, if he's living his own life, that's fine. You know, it doesn't affect me at all. I don't need to be poking fun at him. GTO Warrior saying you're not the mean type. Yeah, pretty much. Chris Cadman, you saying chow you out for the night, man? Yeah, pretty much, man. Auto Salvage Outlaw saying I offered him a plane ticket to my house. That's what I said a year ago. I bet if he showed up, you guys would have just had a good time. You would have had some beers. All I'm saying, people think that proves anyone religion may be missing the point. I mean, all of it, it's kind of open to interpretation, I guess. Mopar Man saying, I don't go on other people's lives late at night or AM times to complain about trolls, play the victim card. Like I said, you know, Mopar Man, I don't know what's going on with you guys. I didn't see anything. John does have issues with a few people, and I don't really know what that's all about. I don't think I've ever had an issue with John. I've never had an issue with you either. You know, you're my bud. Help me out with my dart and shit. And so that's kind of crappy. But again, you know, sometimes I don't know. Like I said. Nanny Boyd, what about Crass? So what? Food Nerd saying, I think everyone should pray in their own way and that comforts their heart and feeds their soul. Yeah, of course. Barrow's Garage is saying, my dad taught me this stuff best way, told me the right way, and stood back to watch me do it wrong. Yeah. Yeah, Brother Bear, I feel like you really helped me out with the couple tips you gave me, and full of good advice, man. And I still got the T5 you gave me, which I will use. I will use it. But I feel like you and so many other people were offering good advice, and I don't know. Like I said, all I'm saying, car scenes are one of those places different folks can come together. Yeah, I mean, it is an embodiment of what should be the true American attitude, I feel like, and we all we all embody that. I feel like we do really well. We have disagreements sometimes. We don't
always see eye to eye on every single thing. But despite that, we're here every Sunday night talking with each other and sharing life experience and learning new things and offering a different perspective. And everybody's kind of more sharpened for it, I feel like. Danny Boyd saying, I don't like seeing that because I like both John and Mopar Man 1978. Yeah, of course, you know what I mean. And again, I've seen it before where John's had a disagreement with some people, and I think he had a disagreement with BNR Racing, and I get along with Brian a bunch, and I'm sure they got over that. Obviously, Brian went to the No Name Nationals; they're good. It's bound to happen, I guess. I don't know if John's just kind of one of those, say, stronger personalities or what that is, but not everyone is like Tom Muse, because Tom Muse was kind of off his rocker. But no offense, Tom, but you're kind of off your rocker, man. Um, but I don't know. Chris Anderson, everyone just needs to love one another. Indeed. Ada Liberton is saying, when the spirits pass through you, your nervous system gets fuzzy and chills all come around your body. My first 3 years of nursing were in psychiatric. I saw weird things too. They saw weird things they thought was real. Jeez, man, working in psychiatric isn't easy at all. That's what Ken Kesey was an orderly in a psychiatric hospital, and that's what he wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest roughly about. And, that's my favorite book. Dougster's saying, "Are we going to hold hands at the campfire and sing Kumbaya?" Oh yes, we are. Dada Liberton saying it's a very good book, Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, I love the perspective of saying that people were past repair; they couldn't be rehoned. The comparison of the mind to the machines. I really love that. Olive saying we shall sing something Ramones. Olive, I was thinking about Cabbies on Crack. You remember that song off of Mondo Bizarro? It reminds me of Bottle Rocket, Tony's car. Cabbies on Crack. Cabbies on crack. I gotta get out of this yellow hell. Cabbies on Crack. Mopar Man saying also they had threatened to punch Mr. Will in the mouth if he showed up to the first No Name Nash. I mean, after all the crap he stirred up, you can't really blame him. I didn't feel any anger really. I was just like, why the hell are these people so upset? And that's all I said is don't talk shit on Tony. Like, why talk shit on Tony? Aiden A1K Gaming saying you're definitely a dollar store water bottle guy. I mean, it's technically not a dollar. It's the fancy store, man. It's Trader Joe's. But this is a good size. That's what she said. Unfinished project saying when you see people talking shit about and trying to get your buddy face, you just can only keep up. Yeah. And that's another one too, is I've kind of gotten shit on for supporting Tony. And it's like, I mean, hey, look at the damn shirt. You know what I mean? It's like I've been watching the guy for years. The only reason I come on YouTube in this capacity is because of Tony. And a lot of people give him a bad rap, and I don't understand. And I don't really try to understand because I'm not there. I don't understand the situation. But I know I like Tony. He's always been cool to me. He and Kathy have been nothing but kind to me all these years. But I got people who blocked me, even though I've never really even said a word to them, just because I said don't talk shit on Tony. Aiden A1K Gaming saying it's all about the girth. Buff Del Campo brings up an excellent point here, an excellent point that we've all probably wondered about. I myself have tried to do something about it, saying the food nerd. When will you start adding videos to your channel? Buff, I tried to get her to, I tried. She's like, no, the video has to be at this angle. This is not the wrong light. I want more of a John Ford effect. Olive saying the funny thing about having been a photographer in Boston was so many cabbies would effing drop the hammer if you asked them to. Nice. Dean saying psychiatric care for me as a career, it's not so difficult, but I'm lucky. My adopted sister, now 57, had cerebral palsy and epilepsy. It's one of those things that you get attuned to. More power to you, Dean. That's some pretty, that's not the easiest thing to deal with, but obviously you're more tenacious than a lot of folks. Dada Lebreton is saying that we live with psychiatric people everywhere. They just cope with society. I always thought everyone should have a visit once in their life just to make sure that their thoughts are okay. Yeah, I'm with you there too, Darren. That was my joke for a long time, is like, you know what, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to put some rubber slippers on, like it just, I'm hanging it up. And, Olive saying Tony's Tony, a bit bored with his latest fixations, but he's a good guy. Yeah, you can't blame him if he's fixated on something. He probably doesn't want his channel to become some kind of redundancy. Buff Del Campo saying, just video what you do. I want to see you. I want to watch you cooking. Buff, that's exactly what I said. She's always doing it anyway. And right now she's tearing down her kitchen, so she might not be cooking the same, but just the same, the tear down of the kitchen is also good content. Barrow's Garage is saying, I have a lot of respect for UTG and many others. You don't have to agree with everything someone does. No, not exactly, but in the same breath, it's like you got to also acknowledge what a person does. Bad Attitude C10's in the chat. Howdy, brother. Dean Stevenson is saying that my dad took me to see all of his afflicted military friends. Really the best thing my dad did. He had a sergeant major who had a stroke, and Dad told me, this guy can sense everything you say. Just talk to him. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Just being present, being real. I guess that's all you got to do. Again, if you're, Dean, you're probably more of a tenacious person than me, though, because I could see myself being a little more affected by that. Maybe they probably see it, too. I have feelings. All I'm saying, worst and funniest pickup line I ever got was at the local pub. Dude had been shy around me for months. He had like 10 drinks one night while I was hanging out with my friends. Buff Del Campo saying, Kim tore down my bathroom when I was out working. She videoed it and posted it on her channel. I'll check that out. CJ Johnson saying, sup, Ray, where the weed at? Welcome, CJ. Yeah, smooth sailing is right, unfinished. I don't know, like I said, I try not to do the whole disagreement thing. I don't really like, arguing on the internet, I feel is like beneath me. I don't know. But it's, you look at a person like Tony, and I feel like he does get kind of an unnecessarily bad rap. I feel like the good he's done really outweighs any of the bad that people try to throw at him. And I don't know. Finally screws up his courage, blurts out, "I'm a clinical psychiatrist and you're my kind of girl." Then passes out on his feet like a sack of potatoes. Nice. Nice. Danny Boyd saying, United is a segment of the car community. Exactly. Chris Sanders saying, it's never a good thing to argue in comments or messages. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like a. And I had someone tell me, it's such a small knit community that it's a real small glass house that we shouldn't be throwing stones in. And I feel like that's, that's a really very simple way of putting it. It doesn't need to go much further than that. I don't criticize anybody's efforts or shortcomings, and that usually does pretty good for me, I feel like. I don't know. Auto Salvage Outlaw saying, I've been watching Tony's channel for a long time. He's just running his channel like we all are. Yeah, and then you got people who are like, he doesn't finish this, he doesn't do anything. It's like, all right, like, you guys ever watched Lost? Like, because they act like his channel's like the show Lost. Unfinished project saying, exactly, let's say my piece and move on. I can't imagine being so enthralled with someone that you can't get through alive without trash talking them. Unfinished, you do all right, man. I mean, you're always real positive. You come through, you usually stick to one comment, Neptune Green, Dart Sport, whatever. But, if you do stop and give some advice, it's usually pretty good advice. Don't often say anything negative. You poke some fun, which is more than invited, but it's like, I don't know. That's all it should be, right? I mean, I kind of don't need to take it much past that. Dada Libertad is saying, Tony has a public personality. He was raised in New York, rough time. Everyone knows about the Italian toughness. Kathy sounds happy. I like him and his channel. He loves dogs and they love him. Yeah, exactly, man. Hubie's Garage is saying, UTG and DD Speed Shop were two big channels that got me into all this, and I'm a Chevy guy. Yeah, I never watched much DD Speed Shop. I like him a bunch, but I never watched too much of it. I watched Tony just because at Zero always had a dart, and it kind of just reminded me of things around me. And Tony was the only one who was like, would speak about keeping 6 cylinders, using existing equipment, not changing the point distributor out, stuff like that, so it was kind of relative. Dave Lewis is saying, Uncle Tony has the New York Hustler showing through at times. Nice. It's not a bad thing, is it? Yeah, Olive's got a point there for sure. Hubie's Garage saying, just like our mama said, if we don't have something nice to say, don't say it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I rarely, have much that's negative to say about anybody. Folks are real kind to me. I feel like that's the one of the beauties of this channel is that I don't get a lot of negative feedback, which, sometimes it would probably be merited, but in the same breath, you know what I mean? People are very civil. Folks like popping into the live chat and calling me a nerd, but it's like, I'm a nerd, so I'll accept that. But not a lot of negativity, and I feel lucky for it, definitely. Chris Sanders is saying, I broke one of my fingers the other day, and I got to go get x-rays at some point, but I hate going to the hospital. Chris, go do it, man, because that thing will be all crooked and, it's going to start hurting you in the cold and stuff. At least get him to set it, x-ray it, set it, whatever you need, man, because, it's going to be a pain in the ass while you're working if it heals wrong. And, yeah. But yeah, guys, I'll probably go ahead and call it a night. I got work pretty early. I guess it depends how what your standards of early are, but pretty early. And I gotta clean myself up. I'm still wearing Apache from earlier, and gotta go see what I can do. Buff saying I'm not tired yet. I'm tired enough for the both of us, but Buff. Hubie's Garage is saying, Chris Sanders, I hear you. I was in the ER last week with stitches on my hand. It sucks, but you got to do it. Yeah, Hubie, I felt bad. Hubie sent me a picture. He had his hand up. He's had it elevated, so probably because it's bleeding like hell. And he was in the ER. And I'm like, Hubie, it wasn't a drone, was it? But it wasn't a drone. I guess he had snapped a Torx bit, and it sheared, and, how sharp those things can be. GTI Warrior saying, don't worry, Ari, if you need negative feedback, we won't hesitate to let you know, because you won't get butt hurt. No, I mean, it's what it is, you know what I mean? Why hide from the truth? That's not really conducive to growth. Buff Del Campo's got an agreement with himself, no more stitches. Chris is saying, fine, I guess I'll go tomorrow. Yeah, Chris, I mean, it's just one of those things, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. I've got one, I don't know if you guys can see, it's just a wee little scar now, but this whole finger was like off. And I'm like, I don't need to go to the hospital. And it hurts. It hurts when it gets cold. Sometimes I'll be trying to work and it's like doing weird crap. Darren, that's a good one. Hubie's Garage is saying, I was wearing my DD Speed Shop shirt too. Those Torx security bits suck. Yeah, the security Torx does suck. Olive, that's exactly what I said. I'm going to go on the Snap-on truck and buy Hubie a new T55. That way it's not going to snap again. Dada Leberton is saying ice cube and water, best pain medication. People don't use ice enough. Dean saying, we're okay with not hiding from the truth or canceling everything we don't like. I'm okay with blanket bans in some circumstances. And a timeout is great. Hubie's saying, it's doing better. I get to take my own stitches out in 3 days. Hubie, it's much better than going in the ER and waiting. I would have done it myself, but this time it was just kind of on the face. I was worried. It's different than the hands or other extremities. GTI Warrior is saying, tip for security Torx. Use a small punch and you can knock out the pin in this. You just changed my whole world, Chris. I had to soak that in. I really had to soak that in. Thanks, man. But yeah, guys, I'll probably call it a night. Thanks so much for everybody stopping in. I'm sorry if it got boring. I'm sorry if, I talked about too much religion or politics or YouTube gripes or whatever it may be. But it was still fun. I had a lot of fun speaking with everybody as usual. This week, I'm going to try to do another live stream. I had meant to do one this last Thursday, but I got kind of hung up, with my errands. And I'm working a new schedule, which keeps me a little bit busier, so that's kind of tough. But I'll definitely try to do another live stream this week. I still got a couple videos I got to do. I'll keep up with the shorts if I can. And we'll see what's happening, right? But yeah, guys, have a great week out there. Be safe. Try to be kind to one another if you can. You know what I mean? So it's not the hardest thing. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing, but try. But above all of this, make sure to check your fluids. No, but seriously, guys, thank you. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Everybody, you guys are great. Wonderful people. I'm smarter because of you. Thank you. Have a great night, guys.